Hi, I'm Axel. I'm ranking the top 100 songs of 2023, and this is the end, the last of this series of videos with the best of the best, the top 10 best songs of the year 2023 as chosen by me, but also with an eye beyond just what appealed to me personally, but also as to what I think represented music culture in the year 2023 best. And so, without further ado, um, one of the biggest trends in the year 2023 in music was undoubtedly hyperpop. And my pick for number 10 up here is definitely one song that I think has to go down as one of the defining bangers of the hyperpop era. It's the American duo Frost Children with Flatline, which I would argue is maybe a bit more palatable, a bit less hyper than a lot of other stuff that you'll find in the genre, which I understand some people are kind of a little bit put off by. Partly because of the way that it's been commercialized, by Spotify and other entities, how some musicians have actively distanced themselves from the genre by the sort of vagueness of what it actually entails musically. But I think at its best, hyperpop, however you choose to define it, because you could equally well speak of this song as more straightforward electropop or as part of the sort of blog house indie sleaze revival that's been going on this decade. However you choose to put it, I see in the genre a kind of breaking down of barriers, of ideas of what's possible or what's doable or what's in good taste in music. And Flatline, it's a song that I think wouldn't work nearly as well if it wasn't for the bridge. And there's a common saying in pop music circles that a bridge is really what can make or break a song. And in this case, the bridge just shoots it all into the stratosphere. Frost Children, Flatline. 2023 is also the year in which we see the subgenre of electronic dance music that is Jersey Club, which has really been around since the early 2000s, get an unprecedented amount of popularity and mainstream success as the characteristic bounciness and breakbeats of that genre are taken all the way to the top of the charts by, among others, Pink Pantheress and Ice Spice on Boys a Liar Part 2. Because yes, it is the remix, it is Part 2 that you want. You want Ice Spice on this. You want those stuttering break beats matched by her too. Because yes, it is the remix. It is Part 2 that you want. You want Ice Spice on this. You want those stuttering break beats matched by her stuttering Bronx flow, those duh-duh-duhs, which I've never been able to get out of my head since hearing this song. It's only one of several songs from that excellent Pink Pantheress album, Heaven Knows, that I could have chosen for this list. There's also another collaboration with a rapper that has no business on paper sounding as good as it ends up sounding. The other one, also produced by Mura Massa, being Nice to Meet You featuring Central C. But this being my list, I will in the end make sure to keep Central C as far away from it as possible. And so instead, we get a second placement by Ice Spice as a featured artist here on Boys a Liar Part 2. Now, of course, a great song is a great song, no matter whether it lines up with broader cultural and musical trends at the time of its release or not. And so at number 8, I have gone for Go Dig My Grave by Irish neo-folk band Lankum, which is a song so timeless that really could have conceivably been made at any time in the past 100 years. And it's actually a cover of a traditional, of a folk song that has existed at least as long as that, but I believe taking particular inspiration from one recorded version by Gene Ritchie, the Appalachian folk musician and dulcimer player, who's really one of the most influential musicians of all of the 20th century, I would say, who Lankum pay homage to on this terrifying 8-minute long song. And it's a song whose power really just speaks for itself. All you need to do is pop on some headphones, play this song, and you'll instantly feel yourself being transported back to like Victorian Ireland at the time of the potato famine, and you're being haunted by all the things you had to do in order to survive, as the wind and the ghosts of the dead all around you join together in this ominous howl that is suffocating you, that is drowning you out. And it's just an incredible song. Go listen to it. Go listen to the whole album, False Lankum, that this is off. This is some of the best contemporary Irish folk music you'll hear. And yeah, Lankum, Go Dig My Grave. Oh, okay, it's getting a bit steamy in here, this next one. Tinashe, Talk to Me Nice at number 7. Because like the discography that this former child actor has amassed at the age of only 33 now, and 3 years younger at the time of this, is already one of the most consistent, one of the most forward-thinking R&B discographies of any artist in the 21st century. Talk to Me Nice is a stellar example of that. It has a super stylish influence of like UK garage electronic sounds baked into it. I mean, Tinashe at this point is just putting out stellar, sultry sex jams as if her life depended on it. And her big breakthrough would only come in the year after this with Nasty and No Broke Boys, but 2023 is already where you'll find some of Tinashe's all-time best material. Talk to Me Nice, Tinashe at number 7. Number 6, Underscores featuring Gabby Start and Girls Like Us, another hyperpop pick. You might actually notice some structural similarities between this and Frost Children's Flatline at number 10, in the sense that both are kind of like pleasantly quirky electronic pop songs that, you know, move fairly predictably for like 2/3 of their runtime before there's like the equivalent of, I guess, like an octave shift, but for hyperpop, which means that it's more sort of like a vocal EDM breakdown that goes way beyond just being a bridge. I mean, with Frost Children, I talked about how important a good bridge is, but in the case of Girls Like Us, I mean, this is no longer a bridge. I mean, this amplifies the song. This ensures you'll never forget it. It's the artist letting you know that they mean business, that this isn't just music by numbers, but music as an expression of self. And, you know, I just also absolutely love the representational value of a trans artist like Underscores, just making it look so easy. You know, she's just manifesting the pop star that she knows herself to be. You don't often get to hear things this anthemic. We are entering the top 5 now with Charlie XCX and Speed Drive. And, you know, chances are that you might not even remember or know this Charlie song. It certainly got drowned out by her subsequent success in the year 2024, the year of our Lord Brat. This is from the Barbie soundtrack, the Greta Gerwig film, which as a soundtrack, far from shabby. And I think this was definitely the highlight for me from that soundtrack album. It's the sound of a pop star striding forth with the absolute assurance of making a banger. It's, I think, one of Charlie's all-time best songs. It's, you know, the way that the English hyperpop producer of the song, Easy Fun, is weaving together those samples from Tony Basil and Robin into this whole. It's just Charlie XCX, Speed Drive. Oh no, I'm still not done with hyperpop. I've got the most controversial one still coming up with 100 Gex, Hollywood Baby at number 4, which I know there's a kind of a bit of backlash against them. Some people think they're too silly or too obnoxious or whatever. I think they're having fun, and I think at their best, there's a kind of an art brut spirit coursing through the music of this American duo, of just making whatever kind of art, whatever kind of music just pops into their heads. It's a caffeinated, Adderalled, monster energied take on pop music that just puts all the musical genres that this band grew up with and liked into a blender, and then just turns it up on maximum without the lid on, and it all just flies over the walls. And it turns out that it's like a beautiful painting. That's what Hollywood Baby is to me. This is one of their more rocky tracks. It has some kind of cliche beware of Hollywood lyrics that are really just a structural frame for us to orient ourselves within this auditory genre implosion. I'm probably making this sound more obnoxious than it actually is. Do just check it out. I think it is a fantastic song. I think it's a brilliant blend of diverse genre influences. It's incredibly motivational. It's incredibly high energy. And it's just a whole lot of fun. Right, I promise that was actually it with the hyperpop for this list. With this next one, I mean, this is certainly not something you could describe as incredibly fun or incredibly high energy. It's in fact something that probably needs a trigger warning for suicide. And I think listened to in isolation, it might come off as like an overly dour emo ballad about dying or wanting to die. But who the fuck would even listen to a Swan song in isolation? This is no more of this from the 2023 Swans album, The Beggar, which I actually think was one of the best post-reunion Swans albums yet, even if it had some spots that dragged or maybe weren't as good. But I don't use this word lightly, the heavenly No More of This really is the album's emotional center. It's deeply emotional, it's deeply affecting, but it also shows the beating heart, I think, that is there at the center of Swan's best music. So it should go without saying that at this point, this high up in the list, the songs that I'm talking about are really quite dear to me. I think they're really quite exceptional. And this next song up here is one that it's almost hard to talk about without succumbing to cliches or hackneyed turns of phrase. It's Alyosha by Norwegian art pop singer-songwriter Susanne Sundfør. And it's a song that, if you ever feel like, with all that's going on in the world today, there we go with the cliches. If you ever feel like it's hard to justify one's own selfish pursuit of happiness, of like a little privileged corner of bliss to escape to ignore for a while all that's going on in the world, to try to negotiate between this selfish desire for happiness amid a crumbling world, that I think makes up the core of the sentiment in this song. A song that I would, without hesitation, call one of the newest entries into the list of the best love songs ever written. The song's music video tells you what it's about. It's a video showing clips of the singer's real wedding to the saxophonist Andre Rulihetten. I think that's sort of how you pronounce his name. But the namesake of the song is actually not Sundfør's husband, but rather, apparently, according to the internet, the character of Alyosha in Fyodor Dostoevsky's The Brothers Karamazov, which is a book I have read and I have loved. I mean, I think that's surely one of the best books ever written. But even then, I don't really have much of a clue as to how that character's story relates back to the song, but that's not the point. The point, I think, is right there in the lyrics when Sundfør sings, "It was a mad world out there, dog eat dog, everything was dying, but that is not what I remember. It's you, my Alyosha. You are all that I remember of that day." And so the time has come. I'm going to treat this with a solemnity and also suspense that the occasion deserves. My number one song of the year 2023. But as much as I'm sure it would be narratively satisfying to end on a note of positivity and optimism, and conclude on a song about the transformative power of love, and as much as I love Susanne Sundfør's Alyosha, I'm not going to do that. And as much as I would probably find it amusing to make up something about how Meghan Trainor's Mother is actually the best song of 2023 because of its unvarnished portrayal of a society that views femininity as both a spectacle and a weapon, I'm also not going to do that. I'm going to go with my sincere pick for number one, which is Anoni and the Johnsons' Can't. More like Anoni and the Johnsons Can't Write a Bad Song. Am I right? No, seriously, this is a sad song. Because what do you expect? It's a sad song, of course. It's a song about grief. Which is a song that I happen to love, not so much because I connect to it personally. It's a song that I genuinely believe is the best song of 2023. It's a song with a level of musical artistry on display that should, I believe, leave anyone that cares about music just dead in their tracks, if you'll excuse the inappropriate expression in a song about grief. I'm sorry I said. But what I find most fascinating about Can't is the way that the song wrestles with grief from a secular perspective. And I think ultimately the belief that underpins both this and Sundfør's Alyosha isn't actually that different from each other. And it reminds me of a line by Justin Vernon on Bon Iver's Holocene that's always stuck with me when he said, once I knew I was not magnificent. Can't, similarly, is an existentialist song in the French philosophical tradition because it's about coming to terms, or trying to at least, with death from a non-anthropocentric, non-religious perspective, from a perspective that accepts that there probably is no afterlife, that this is it, that this is all we get. A truth so hard to accept that humanity has made up all sorts of different religions over its millennia of existence. But Anoni, with her heart-wrenchingly emotive voice, does come to terms with it of sort. Anoni, if you're unfamiliar, and if you are, you should amend that post haste, is an English singer-songwriter based in New York City, broadly working in the art pop, chamber pop tradition, who's been active since the 1990s, actually. She's kind of been releasing music a little bit sporadically, not sort of abiding by the kind of hectic release schedules demanded by major labels and demanded by, streaming services in the present era, and carefully building up releases that more often than not are some of the best stuff to come out in a given year. Her solo debut album, Helplessness from 2016, was already an astounding artistic statement, a more electronic album with production courtesy of Hudson Mohawk and Daniel Lopatin, which dealt with the climate crisis in really personal and intimate ways. But her 2023 album, My Back Was a Bridge for You to Cross, which features on the cover not Anoni herself, but Martha P. Johnson, the inspiration for the band's name. This is an album that is more in the soul tradition. It's intimate on a very personal level. It's an album that deals with really tough themes of self-hatred, of identity, of despair, of grief, that would perhaps be too depressing to listen to if it weren't also actually a musically jubilant piece of work, like a triumphant hug. That's what the album, and that's what Can't, the highlight of the album, feels like. It's a song that lifts you up to the heavens through the communal power of music. And as I'm saying that, I'm realizing that actually that's not all that different from Alyosha in a way. It's maybe a positive message to end on after all. So well done to myself, but well done most of all to Anoni and the Johnsons and to all the other songs and artists that I've mentioned on this list. I've enjoyed doing this. I hope you've enjoyed watching it if you've been along for this ride. One last time, the songs are in the description down below. These ones you absolutely do need to check out. For the future, I am considering doing similar style lists for songs of a different year, maybe for albums of 2023 as well. But in the immediate future, my next project will be something that should hopefully appeal to you if my Anthony Fantano impression isn't quite cutting it for you, which will be more, I guess, sort of like video essay related, but talking about the early history of Austria, which I promise is more interesting than it sounds. And I'm hoping to have that uploaded soon. For now, all the best. Thanks very much for watching. My name is Axel. These were my 100 favorite songs of 2023. And this is Your Face on Drugs.